At those projects, why does government continue to sink money in such public-private partnerships, and yet it does not really get value for money? Speaking to us is commercial lawyer Tone Tumukunde. Counsel, many thanks for joining us this evening. What we want to understand, or maybe there's just someone hoodwinking government and siphoning money through these huge projects where government ends up paying a lot of money, but there's no value for it. What's your own opinion on that?
Thank you, Canary, and all viewers. I think government's major aim is to see to it that there is infrastructural development that facilitates public interest and public gain. But what happens is the way our lawyers, the way our parliamentarians, the way our implementers, the way our project owners and private investors partake of the PPP policies, guidelines, and regulations in Uganda, you will understand that not even our MPs probably understand the 6-phase policies of public-private partnerships. And what they do is just to debate, pass, without even knowing what will bring in a foreign direct investment vis-a-vis optional investment. Now, in Uganda, and I've looked at most of the debates in Parliament, our parliamentarians do not even know whatever they are debating about to do with PPPs, whether it will bring in foreign direct investment or optimal investment, and what will actually bring in suboptimal or optimal risk allocation. And you will find that government will be excited to bring in these projects, and at the end of the day, the much risk is thrown to the government and less is left to the private investors. And I think that is the biggest problem. But also,
do you think that there's not enough risk assessment studies that are done, but also try to understand that some of these companies, you find that they are defunct, they are taking loans from other countries, and then government has to come in to provide money to pay these loans. You find us as a government really being entangled. Do you think that there's enough time for us to revisit, for example, the guidelines of PPP?
I think we are very good assessors and valuers of the PPP contracts and negotiators. If you look at our law, we have what we call the PPP committee and the PPP unit under the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. And I cannot actually cascade my submissions to say that they do not actually know how to assess these contracts. The problem is we have a problem with non-transparent negotiations, corruption, and political opportunism. That is what I would say. People are excited to hear of projects, MPs are excited to hear of projects, but they do not actually know at what stage will the project be efficient, fervent to the public interest. And you will find that government will lose a lot.
Okay. What also need to understand, maybe lastly here, Council, what needs to be done to prevent further loss of money through the same?
I think first and foremost, government must go by the principle that the private investor must share the highest risk. And that allocation must be put onto the private sector and not the public sector. And that is the essence of PPPs. Otherwise, if you leave the biggest loss to government, then you're making a loss to the public interest.
Tone Tumukunde is a commercial lawyer. Many thanks for speaking to us this evening.